And here we go. Live here again, Coleman, Alabama, Smith Lake in my kitchen. You got some spit where you can talk?
Yeah, it's been a blistering week here.
I'm loving these 100-degree temperatures, aren't you?
I guess if I was in the air conditioning business, maybe.
My guys don't like it.
It'd be a bad time to have to get in the attic.
I cannot wait until we see a frost. The leaves are dying, but it's not fall. It's just dry.
Just dry.
Man, they were coming down up there at the shop while I was up there planing all that wood this evening.
Oh, yeah. When you were up there, the wind picked up. They were just tunneling down the driveway.
Oh, well. Anyway, we're back tonight. Got a special guest. I don't guess we need to hold off who it is. His name's William Terry. He's the owner and founder of Legacy Premium Game Calls. Yes, that's the full name. William has become a real good friend. He builds turkey calls, I guess duck calls, coyote howlers, owl hooters, anything you could possibly want, grunt calls. But we'll let him tell you all that. But we kind of got him on here tonight because he does something in the summertime. Besides getting ready, his deer plot's ready, but he prepares the dove fields. He runs a dove club over in South Carolina.
Pretty major deal.
So we're going to have him on here in a few minutes, and we'll talk to him about how he does his fields. I know here in Alabama, every state does them a little different, but you can pick up some tips if you're trying to get your field ready. I know we're getting late in the game on that, but a lot of people run out there and just top-sow wheat. And that's real finicky with a game warden, at least in Alabama it is. But we'll hear what he has to say, and hopefully he'll have us some tips on how to plant green fields and talk a little turkey calls. Hear about old Red, see how it's doing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, hang on tight, folks, and we'll get him on the phone.
Hey, folks, we're on with a special guest tonight, William Terry with Legacy Game Calls, owner and founder. How you doing tonight, William?
Doing good. How's it going, Dustin?
Good. Man, it's good to hear your voice. We ain't seen you in a little while. Yeah. It's been Birmingham, I guess. I
say about 5-6 weeks.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
How is that? Are you done with the shows? Is that over?
I'm finished until first show I'll do will be, NWTF Nashville.
I made my reservations with John yesterday, matter of fact. We're going to come up Tuesday night. We're coming up Tuesday night this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Me and Dustin.
Yeah, he called me. I guess it was yesterday. No, it wasn't. Yeah, yesterday was Wednesday. Yeah, he called me yesterday to let me know that he got a room. Yeah.
He's a good guy, but Lord, he can talk. He is.
Oh my God, man! He talked the ears off a wooden Indian.
I'm telling you, I sit there. I know I was on the phone 30 or 45 minutes. I finally said, John, I got a conference call I got to get on. I really did. Yeah. I hope he don't listen to this. I really did. And he still took him 10 minutes to hang up then. So.
Oh, trust me, I know. I agree.
God,
I like him a lot. But boy, you don't want to get on the phone with him.
No, man, he's so smart and been into so many different things. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
But we didn't call to talk about John, but we do want to talk about. We want you to tell us a little about you and your company.
Well, I started the call company in 1995. And the thing that got me into it was, of course, calling in contests. Started calling in contests in 1985, and 10 years went by and I never won a contest. Never placed in a contest. Well, the long story short of it is I started making calls in December of 95, and March of 96, I won the South Carolina State Championship the first time, and figured out right quick that I could make a better call than what I could buy at that time. And it just kind of went from there. Won that state championship 7 times.
Did you? Was you building mouth calls or box calls? Or?
Yeah, that's what I started out on, mouth calls. Yeah, that's what I started off on. Yep. because that's just what I like to use. You know, I mean, granted, now I use a little bit of everything, and you know, depending on the scenario we're in, but that's just what got me started. You know.
So
and go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so you started just because you wanted to build your own calls for contests.
Exactly.
For contests, you weren't thinking about.
Exactly.
I guess at the time you didn't think of people would be wanting to buy them.
At the time, I didn't. You know, in the very beginning, and the thing that got me, I'll tell you, one of the things that really got me on it was, so I made those first calls. I had enough stuff to make 12 mouth calls. I made 5. And out of those 5, one of them I used to win the state championship the first time. That was the first 5 mouth calls I'd ever made. And so what happened was, so the next year I went back and I won the championship again. And in that time, a good friend of mine from Union, South Carolina, his name's Butch Deal. He won the world championship in 1986. Butch was there, and Butch was one of the only callers at that time there was a, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but somebody who was established and you knew they was going to be, you know what I'm saying, you knew they was probably going to beat you. And he was one of the only ones at that time that really would talk to me. And because I was a nobody, come from nowhere, and still am. But anyway, so I told Butch, I said, how about trying some of my calls? He said, okay. So I give him like, I don't remember, 3 or 4 mouth calls. And so this was in March, you know, turkeys was already gobbling, probably the 2nd or 3rd week of March when they used to have that state contest. And so about a week and a half goes by, and the next thing you know, my phone rings and it's Butch. I answered the phone. I said, of course, at that time, there wasn't no caller ID, but I answered the phone. It was Butch, and he said, William. I said, what is it, Butch? He said, I got to have some more of them mouth calls. I said, oh, you like them? He said, like them. He said, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the best mouth call I ever put in my mouth. And so, you know, I made him some more, and I mean, that's just kind of how it started. And, you know, the thing that got me was, once I got good enough to beat some of them guys, or all of them, I guess, because I was one.
Yeah.
But once I got good enough to beat them guys, the ones that wouldn't talk to me, all of a sudden was my best friend. And so then that opened up a conversation where, you know, it ain't quite like that anymore. I mean, there's some good calls out there, you know, besides mine. But that opened up a conversation where them guys was like, what are you using? I'm like, okay, I'm using these right here, and I made them. And so a few of them was like, well, I just go to Walmart and buy 100 of them and throw 95 of them away. And so after hearing that a little bit, I got to thinking, you know, and I said, well, see, I couldn't afford to buy. If I bought 3 mouth calls, that's what I had to use. I mean, that was just all it was to it. So it was luck of the draw. And so anyway, what really got me into the call business was I said, it ain't right to make these calls that are so inconsistent. And it ain't rocket science. It ain't rocket science to make them consistent, to me. So the machine I used to make my calls, I built myself. And so it just, and this is what I always relate it to. So I don't care if you're paying $2 a piece for something or $200 a piece for something. Every one you get should be good. You don't buy 10 tires for your truck hoping to get 4 good ones.
True. That's true. I never thought of it like that.
Well, that's the way I look at things.
Well, yeah. But I'm much like you. What I got, you know, that's what I did. I don't, you know, if I went in there and before I knew you, if I went and bought a Primo's call, you know, I buy one, you know, might buy this cut and that cut and another cut. That was it. I didn't go buy 3 or 4 or 5 of each of them, hoping one would sound. I just, of course, being a layman, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I just assumed they all sounded the same. You know, the next year I might, if I like that call, I could go buy me another one, you know, the same thing. But
Right.
thinking back, though, a lot of those calls didn't sound the same. That's why I would change and get another one. Do you remember what that call, your very first call you won the contest, what kind of cut or how many reads?
It was a V cut.
Was it a V cut?
It was a V cut, and I think it was a 4 read. Yeah, and I'm almost positive, and I know I still got it.
Oh, really? I'd have that under glass somewhere.
I've still got the first prize possession I ever made.
What is that?
That prize possession is a 3 read W cut that I do.
Okay. So
the knockoffs call it a snake's tongue.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But that call right there, I've got the very first one that was ever made.
Well, they say imitation's the greatest form of flattery or something other or whatever.
That's right.
Except when somebody's selling it.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that because Mike Pentecost at the convention 2 years ago told me, said, William, I always felt bad about copying a prize possession. And that's exactly what I told him. I said, don't worry about it, Mike. I said, copying's the best form of flattery.
Yeah, well.
And I say that, and I know it's on the radio, and I'm fine with it because that's what I said.
Yeah.
And that's what he said, and that's fine,
Well, I mean, everybody's in the biz. You guys are in the. You're in business to make money. I guess he is too. I don't imagine there's. I know you, and I know you personally, and I don't think there's probably a call up there you've copied somebody from. You probably did it yourself. I mean, everybody has ghost cuts and that kind of stuff now. I mean, so
That's right, they do, and so. Really and technically, except for the prize possession, because I come out with that call. That call had never been on the market ever before I did it.
That's right. I understand.
And except for that, technically, I copied other people with the cut, Like Paul Butsky was the first person that ever had a cutter call.
Yeah.
The cutter's just cut just one notch on one side.
Yes. And
from what I understand now, and that's talking to Butch and everybody, and Butch, was good friends with him and everything back in the day when they were really calling a lot and stuff. But he was the first one that had a cutter call. So technically, my cutter call was a copy of his as far as cut design. Now I don't, my reed thickness and stretch and everything is what I come up with.
That's what makes all these different.
It does. It really does.
And I assume that's why a lot of these, and me and Dustin don't do calling contests. I'd get laughed out, but Dustin may not, but I would. But I've noticed because we got a lot of friends that do call now, and some that make their own. It seems like most of them, especially mouth calls, either they make their own call or they have whoever their call sponsor is bills calls specifically for them.
That may not even be on the
it might not be on the market or, out there for sale.
Right. Yeah, and that's true. And, but, God, man, I had something.
It seems like it worked for you.
Well, it did. And, but going back to the reason I got, when I got into the call business, whenever I finally made that step to going on to the major market, because, in the beginning, of course, I just had them in one store here locally. But once I made that step to go ahead and, start pursuing these dealers and, all over the country, or at least all over the Southeast, I had it in my mind right then to make a living making calls, and that was it. I didn't have no intent. If somebody told me it was going to be a hobby, I'd have quit doing it right then.
So you were in it. You jumped in with both feet.
He was vested.
Oh, absolutely. I had no intention whatsoever of it being a hobby. Oh, I know what I was going to say though when we was talking about calling a competition.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that for a lot of years. I made a lot of good friends doing it. I met a lot of good people from all over the country. I never, ever felt like I was any better than anybody else, and still don't. It doesn't make me a better turkey hunter than anybody else. And so I really want people to know that, because I don't feel that way. It was just something that was really fun to do for me. And for me, it was the best way I knew to learn to call better.
Right. How far did you carry it? Did you go to Grand Nationals and all that good stuff?
I did. I only called in the Grand Nationals 3 or either 4 times. I can't recall. It was either 3 or 4 times. And I never made the cut. The closest I come to making the cut was the last year I called. And as to be honest with you, when I quit calling, I was calling better than I ever had. And the closest I came, me and Matt Moret tied for 12th. You know, they take 12 in the finals.
Right.
And they was like 52 callers in the preliminaries. And me and Matt Moret tied for 12th, and he beat me in the call off. So I finished 13th out of 52. And I was satisfied with that. I didn't have to make it. To be honest with you, what ended up happening with me is my time was better spent in that booth than it was up there calling, because that, you know, even if I won, that little bit of money was short-lived compared to what I'm going to make building this business.
Yeah. Dang, Dustin, we had a little technical trouble there.
Yeah, that's the first. I mean, we've had it not connect to Bluetooth in the beginning, but we've never had it during the middle of a show just go crazy.
Crazy. But we got William back on there. You're there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just pick it up, Brett. We're talking about the calling contest and.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, it was something I enjoyed doing. It didn't make me any better than anybody else or any better hunter than anybody else. It's just something I enjoyed doing. And to me, it was just the best way to learn to call better. And it just looked like a lot of fun, you know, or it was, you know, when I went and watched the first one that I ever watched before I started calling, that's whenever I said, man, that looks like a lot of fun. So that's what got me interested in it. And here I am.
Was there any future plans of maybe you ever hitting a couple of competitions just for the heck of it?
That's a good question. I put it to you like this. I got a good friend down the road from me here named Skeet Thomas. This is as good a caller as ever been. He finished second in the Grand Nationals like 5 times, but he never won it. And he's said he's retired and come back and called like 3 different times. And I always said, if I ever say I retired, I won't never call again. But I hadn't never said I was retired. How about that?
There you go.
So that leaves the door open.
Yeah. Never know. You may blow the dust off some calls one Saturday or something, go hit a local competition.
You never know.
Well,
you never know.
Is there any new calls coming out? Anything
yes.
on the horizons?
Yes, we got a 30th anniversary friction call coming out next year. It'll be a glass call, and we just Roger just finalized the artwork on it this week. As a matter of fact, Roger drew the artwork for it.
Okay.
And oh man, it's going to be nice. It's going to be we're going to do 2 different ones. Want to be in a walnut pot, and it's going to be, you know, available. It's in other words, it's not going to be a numbered series on that. In that walnut pot, it won't be a numbered series. It'll be, you know, we'll just make however many we need to make. You know what I mean? Depending
right.
on dealer orders and whatever. But then we're going to have a numbered series as well. And I'm still nailing down the wood for the pot as far as what I'm going to use on it. But it's going to be a numbered series. So whatever I decide to make is all it's going to be ever. In other words, so I don't know if there'll be 50 of them or 75 of them or what it's going to end up being at this point. I still got another little while to get it all figured out, but it'll be a 30th anniversary for next year, and it's going to be nice. Very nice.
Is it going to be walnut as well?
I hadn't decided
okay.
yet. I'm still nailing down the wood on it. It won't. Well, I put it to you this: it won't be walnut. I do know that.
Okay.
But I haven't. I'm pretty positive I know what it's going to be, but I don't want to say it just in case I end up going with something else.
I
You
understand.
just make sure you put me and Anthony down on one of those numbers.
I want a low number.
Yeah, we want to be in the
I-
in the low numbers.
I want a lower number than David Smart.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. I mean, if you make 40 and I'm 39, I want him to be number 40.
Lord have mercy.
You
Y'all
know,
make it hard on me.
well, David makes it hard on everybody. He's a good old boy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, Roger just finished artwork for it this week.
I can't wait to see it.
I do. Yes, it's going to be nice. It's going to be real nice. I done here a while back. Well, back in May, really the local chapter here that I'm not involved with it because I don't have time to be, but they're the main chapter that I make sure I do something for every year. They wanted me to do one for them, and I wanted it to be something unique. So on a whim, I got to thinking. I'm like, what can I do that that they just can't go buy at the store? So what I did was I did them a 29th anniversary 1 of 1.
Oh, wow.
And did the artwork and all in it and give it to them for their banquet, and it brought $250.
Wow. That's great. That's real good.
Yeah, so it was, and man, it looked good too, boy. Which the ones this year is going to look as good or better than that. So I mean, I didn't take away from any of them, but I mean, it's the only one. It's the only one that's ever going to be 29th anniversary.
Yeah. That'll be something just down the road. I mean, once it's out, it's gone. It's gone. So
that's exactly right.
It's a collector's item from the time you hand it to them.
I would say, yeah. I mean, and as y'all know, and anybody that's really into turkey hunting knows, and calls, boy, they can really gain value depending on what they are.
Oh, I know, and I'm bad about. I love collecting some of the old stuff. I got a bunch of Ben Lee calls, sign calls, and, I would never hunt with them. I've got one
Right.
I'm thinking I may try to hunt with. Just say I hunted with it one time. But, and then we got a real good friend, Christopher King. He's got into making pot calls. And I think he's going to start making trumpets. But he builds a great call, and I've bought a couple, 2 or 3 of his. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
me and Dustin have two of 2. I think, isn't that? Yeah.
Yeah.
We built with 2 of them, and we
I've been done.
we put our hands on both of them. They just got a beautiful sound. And
Oh yeah.
but I understand.
It's kind of funny. Everybody thinks that I keep the cream of the crop on different calls, but believe it or not, anybody where you could ask David or Roger that actually have been in the shop with me, making calls and putting them together, it's actually totally opposite for me. Most of what I use is culls. Personally,
I can believe that. After, spending time with you and learning your background and how you grew up, I can see you putting a better product out, and you keeping the leftovers. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, if I want me which I keep a aluminum call in my vest, and the one that I've got in my vest is a cull, because that pot is going to sound as good as that pretty pot right there. But because that one hole that was drilled chipped out, I don't want to sell it, but it's going to sound just as good. And I ain't never seen a turkey walk up there and say, well, what does that look like?
Come
so
in
that's
there,
what I use. I mean,
I can see it. Yeah, I've never had a turkey even ask me to see my call.
I've had them laugh at me because I shot a tree that was in between me and them.
Now that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take, and I feel sure Dustin is the king of killing trees. He has killed more trees just since I've known him than I've shot through trees. I don't know if I've ever shot a tree, but he's killed trees in Florida, Nebraska, Alabama. I mean, he's killing everything. The next one, I'm sawing it down, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get the wood, and I'm gonna have a striker made out of that tree. I don't even care if it's a pine tree, and I'm gonna make just so he can have that tree from then on. Cause
Well, I'll
Exactly.
tell you something.
Trophy tree.
yes,
I'll tell you something else I thought was interesting about Williams, cause I mean, he still hand turns all his pigs. Everybody else sources that out. I mean, or a lot of people do. I mean, but I, when someone gets especially one of your nicer pegs, it was hand turned in your shop. I think that's cool.
Right. Well, I like doing it that way for a number of reasons. One, of course, I can control my quality because I'm the one doing it. If it ain't if I don't like it when it comes off the lathe, it can go right down the trash box that's sitting right there underneath the sander. And two, I mean, this is just business right here. I mean, that's the way to keep my costs down. What I'd be paying somebody else to turn that striker is labor cost for me that I can pay myself for doing it.
Oh yeah, you gotta save where you can. I mean, the profit margin is what it's all about.
Well, I mean, you're in business to make money, and I ain't never going to be rich, But my feelings on that is the Bible says it'd be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle and a rich man enter the kingdom of heaven, and I'm planning on going to heaven.
right. Well, we'll be there with you if you're waiting on rich. I'm not going to have that problem.
And I know everybody has their own interpretation of that, but if I don't know. I just seen a lot in my life, and just put it to you this way: I give a man another call and lose money on it before I have a dissatisfied customer.
Well, like I said, I don't see how you could ever have a dissatisfied customer. You may have one that, his call 9 times out of 10 probably broke it themselves, but man, a lifetime warranty. I mean, how can you beat that? I mean.
That's right.
I mean, not on mouth calls, but all your other calls. Surely.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
surely nobody. Of course. Me and Dustin run Alabama Turkey Hunters Facebook page, and we got about a little over 20,000 members. So, but there was a guy. I'm not kidding. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Got on there and said he was wanting to start trying mouth calls, and he would love it if everybody would just take their old mouth calls that they didn't like or quit using and send them to him.
Yeah.
I'm going, dude, that could be 100 different mouths and spit and everything. Right. I mean, I don't care if you soak them in alcohol or not. I don't want Dustin's call in my mouth. Now, well, if my reed tore and I needed a call, I might have to grab it from him, but at least I know him.
Well, it's funny that you say that, but whenever I was calling, I have sold calls right out of my call box that I use. And I don't have no problem doing that. I know people that they got, and I mean, Lord God, I wouldn't dare say no names, but it's the same way with friction calls. I know somebody, and probably everybody on this thing knows them too if I'd say it, but I'm not going to say it. But a couple of years ago, I was at a store promotion, and they pulled a call out. It was a friction call, and called on it, and it sounded good, But anyway, another boy there said, well, I want to buy that one. He said, oh, no, that ain't for sale. That one's mine. But let me just go ahead and tell you, William Terry don't own a call that ain't for sale.
Somebody could probably purchase that whole lanyard you wear around your neck and to show if they need
to. There ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no doubt about it.
You might know where you can get some replacement calls.
Well, that's the thing, if somebody's scared to sell a call, that must mean that they can't reproduce that call. I can reproduce the call. I know how to make quality and consistency. I mean, and I ain't trying to start nothing. I'm just saying.
No, that's what I like about you. I love the honesty. Just put it out there. That's what we're here for. I don't listen.
Well, I mean,
somebody wants to get mad, they can get mad.
If I couldn't reproduce it, I might not want to sell it, but I know I can make another one sound that good.
Well, look, when I see a guy walk up to your booth, and I've been at several different shows where you've been, and he's pulling that one call that he loves because it sounds the same, and he's been, buying them for, I had one guy, I can't, where was we at? I don't know if it was in Nashville or somewhere, but he was like, he'd been buying that same call for 8 years.
Right.
Yeah, they don't come up and get one. They grab multiples. When we were at Woods and Water with David down there, there was a guy that hunts some management area here in Alabama, and he's like, this is the only call I can get a bird to respond on that management area. He said, and I kill him. So he was there just to pick up, he didn't even know they were having a promotion that day. He just come there, to pick up some of your calls. So I thought that was really cool also. I mean, we tried to help David out what we could down there.
Poor old David. He's such a good guy. Boy, we had him going at Mark's Outdoors that day though. Has he hit you up for another signature call yet?
Oh, he's working on it. Yeah, but I mean, that's what it's all about, because it's just like, it's kind of going back to the tire thing, If you buy a set of tires and they last and they work like you want them to work, you're not just going, the next time you're not just going to say, well, yeah, them work real good, but I think I'm going to try these. No, them right there has been lasting and working good for you for a long time. You're going to stick with them until they mess up, And that's just the way it is. To me, it's real simple, but I'm just simple-minded.
Well, your favorite buddy, Mike, that apparently copied a call one time. Before I knew you and was early into this stage of turkey hunting, really didn't really know what I was doing, but he had a ghost cut call. And, they're all big on, name the calling champions, blah, blah, Matt Van Zyce or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Oh, yeah,
and there was a ghost cut call that I loved. I bought it and I killed turkeys with it. Well, the next year I go looking for that call and it's not there. I can't find it. I don't know exactly what it looked like. And God knows that it was destroyed. Probably the one I had was, left in my vest or whatever happened to it. Right. And I called over there. I called them.
Yeah.
And I said, where is this call? It was the blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, we're not making that one. We make one real similar to it, and it's called the whatever, It was just like it was gone.
Right.
And that just kind of turned me off because I'm going, well, if I have something I like, I don't, I understand if you go, we're not making it no more, but don't tell me, well, we're making one just like it, but it's called this now. Well, I didn't get the flyer.
Well, let me add a little bit of that. Of course, I told you next year will be 30 years. Mm-hmm. And in 30 years, I've discontinued 4 mouth calls.
Wow.
And the only reason I did those, the first 2 was just when I first started, I had a regular straight double reed call called the Bachelorette and a 3-reed call. No, the straight double reed was called Misleading and a straight 3-reed call called the Bachelorette. Now, I discontinued them just because, they didn't sell.
Yeah, well.
So that became something that I discontinued because it didn't sell, Now, about 6 or 7 years ago, it's been longer than that, I come out with 2 new calls. One was called the Cutting Edge and one was called the Evolution. And I knew whenever I brought them out that they were going to be, that it was questionable. In other words, I knew it was kind of risky when I brought them out. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I knew that because of the way they were built, I could run the calls, but I could run a lot of calls, but that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I still can't run a call that ain't no good. But that particular call, you had to run it different. And when you did, it sounded really good. But I knew whenever I come out with it, it was going to be a call that either people was going to love it or not like it at all. And so I had it on the market for a couple, I don't know, about both of them were on the market for 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years. And I just had so many more people that didn't like it than did. Now, with that being said, I did discontinue both of those calls, but to everybody listening to this, if you was one of the ones that liked it, I do still make them calls when people call me and want them, and I will make them until the day I die when someone calls wanting it. I'm not ever going to leave somebody hanging.
So I could just call you up and go, hey, you used to make this blah, blah, blah call. Could you make me one? You'll do it.
Absolutely. I'll do it if you want one of them or if you want 21 of them.
I bet you'd prefer the 21.
Well, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm telling you, I come from where I come from, and I value my customer to the point to where I value a person who buys one call a year as much as I do a man that buys 21 a year.
I understand. And before we jump off of the calls, but I mean, you just don't make turkey calls. You make all kinds of calls. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Tell us a few of your other calls that you sell that's popular.
Well, you got I make 3 box calls. One's called Little Donnie. It's a poplar bottom with a Sepelia lid.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Sling Blade, which is a Purple Heart lid with a walnut bottom. And then we've got the Bounty Hunter, which is a Purple Heart lid with a poplar bottom. And then we're going through the friction calls. We got Misleading Glass and Slate, which is the only 2 pot calls I make. It's in a plastic pot. And they're good calls. They're great calls. They sound just like a turkey. They just sound like a different turkey. So in other words, that $40 call in that plastic pot sounds like a turkey as much as that $80 call. It just sounds like a different turkey than that $80 call. And then we go on down Bounty Hunter Glass and Slate, both walnut pots. Also, and by the way, the Bounty Hunter's new. The Bounty Hunter this year is actually going to be new. It's going to be the Bounty Hunter 2. And the difference between them is I've been doing the Bounty Hunter for 20 years. But the new Bounty Hunter 2, which really translates into all my pots, I changed the inside design of my pot just a little bit this year, which actually it just stepped the call up one more notch. It's got more rollover. It's got a little more back end on it. But anyway, with that being said, so I did the Bounty Hunter 2, where the Bounty Hunter had a sticker on the inside of it. The Bounty Hunter 2 is laser engraved, so it just looks a lot nicer. It's and the pot's a little different on the inside. But anyway, it's a step up. We don't do nothing stepping backwards. So anyway, then we'll go to Transfusion Crystal and the Shock Rock Slate, both bloodwood pots. Gang Green Aluminum is a bloodwood pot. Ceramic, the Turkey Hunter Ceramic's a bloodwood pot. Let's see. I think that covers the friction. And then we go to, of course, Owl Hooters Pro calls, Coon Squaller, Dying Rabbit, Coyote Howler, Deer Grunt, which is called Blowing Smoke, which is my newest one.
All right.
Oh man, good gracious alive. Where am I at here?
I don't know. You've named off
anyway,
more than I knew. Well, you got a teal.
The wood duck.
Don't you have a wood duck or something or something?
I do. The wood duck, man. The wood duck's cool, man. I really sell a lot of them. People love them. I can make mallard duck calls. I don't unless somebody calls me wanting one. It's just, I'll tell you, man, and I'm not saying anything bad about duck hunters because, I know a lot of duck hunters. But, boy, they're hard sell. The thing about duck hunters that I had problems with on the mallard side is a man walk up and pick up the call, and the first thing he's going to do is blow it with every ounce of air in his lungs and try to make it lock up. And then if he don't get it to lock up, then that's a good thing. If he does, it's trash, according to, in his mind. And then the other thing that he's going to do, even if it don't lock up, he's going to set it down, and then it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be great, or he wouldn't take it in the woods if it was the last duck call on earth. There ain't no in between with it. There is no in between.
Well,
You know, a turkey hunter's not like that. I mean, you know, like I told you, every one of my calls sound like a turkey. They just sound like a different turkey.
right.
You know, and you can't tell me that a mallard duck won't vary in pitch to a degree as well. You know, so anyways, that's the reason why I don't do much on the mallard duck.
Well, if you see Anthony Crow buying a duck call, you go have his DNA checked or something. It'll be a clone or an
imposter.
imposter because I wouldn't walk across this room to shoot a duck. That's just the way I am.
I'm done.
It's just
Right.
and it's probably because I've never really done it, but I've got enough hobbies as it is, and
Right.
my
tell you-
sole attention is basically turkeys. I just hunt deer because the turkey season's not in. Actually, I'm actually going to try I'm going to try a little fall hunting this year. I've never done it. I'm going to try it one time just so I can.
Let me tell you something. We had a fall season here until 89. 89 was the last year we had a fall season. And you could kill two in the fall. I killed my two the first day, which you could kill two a day back then. But fall hunting is really fun, man. It really is. And I'm going to tell you something else, especially for the youngsters that never fall hunting, because around here, you know, anybody born past 89 never heard of a fall season. But the thing about fall hunting, a lot of people don't realize, you can learn more about what a turkey sounds like fall hunting than you ever will hunting in the spring.
Well,
In other words, there's so much more vocal.
Well, you may have. I may be giving you a call. I've never. I don't even know. Don't really know where to start other than what I've read or hear people talk about because I've never done
Right.
it. You know, I know you're
Now,
supposed to
as far as
find them and bust them up and then call them back
Right.
or whatever. But
Right. And the problem with fall hunting, of course, with your hens and poles, is it's too easy. For anybody that knows what they're doing, it's just too easy. It's like taking candy from a baby. Now, killing a mature gobbler in the fall is a different story. Killing a mature gobbler in the fall can be one of the most challenging things you ever do.
well, that's all I'm interested in. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care if I call up a dozen jakes. I'm not going to shoot one if I did.
Right.
But and of course you can't kill a hen anyway. But
See, now in the fall, used to around here, you could.
yeah, in Alabama, no, they'll put you in jail faster for killing the hen than they will for killing the man.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the way our population's got it ought to be like that.
Yep.
There's plenty of men that deserve killing.
You're right. Yeah. Not many people know this, but I have a private list. I got a hit list. If I ever find out I'm dying, they tell me I've got a week to live. There's some people I'm going to go visit.
Lord have mercy.
But no, I just want to do it to say we've done it. And then there's only
Well, I think you'll
a
enjoy
few
it.
counties here in Alabama that still allow it, and
Yeah.
we got a place to hunt that does allow it. It allows it down there at Hogjaw, right? Yeah. Okay. So we may give that.
Well, you'll enjoy it. You need to learn the gobbler yell
Well,
for fall hunting them gobblers.
I better go find me a good sound file to start listening to then, so I can figure it
There you
out.
go. Yeah, it ain't hard.
What call you got that makes the best gobbler? Yep.
Oh man, God, man, you put me on the spot with that one.
Oh, good. Hey, that's a first for me.
You know, to be honest with you, I don't practice it a lot, or hardly. I don't never practice it. So to be honest with you, I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm always going to be honest. I'd have to go through them and call on each one of them to tell you which one would be the best. Because you're the first person I've ever had ask me that. Even though it's a common thing now in the calling contest to do.
Well, and that was one of the reasons I was going to bring that up. I've heard them ask for that. They asked for
and
that.
they do.
So I mean,
they didn't back in my day, but they do now. Of course, if I was still calling, I'd be able to tell you right quick which one would be the best because I'd have had to have practiced it. But anyway, with that being said, I'd really have to go through them to be able to tell you, and I will, here in the near future, so we can get you something coming that way full time for you to go. So
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I've stumped the master over here then.
I wouldn't call me no master. I just do the best I can,
Well, look,
There's no such thing as a master. Everybody's still learning it, at least whether they want to admit it or not,
well, I know I'm not. That's for sure. I've been doing this a long time, and
You'd be amazed. I mean, of course, because I guide, and I rarely ever kill a turkey myself anymore. I've killed 3 turkeys in the past over 20 years, personally. But of course, I'm responsible for a lot of them dying. But what I was going to tell you is, I guide people all the time, and believe it or not, I still learn from people that I take hunting that. Some of them don't have nearly the experience I do, but it's just, you can always pick up a little something from about everybody.
That's right. And while we're talking about that, let's talk about that. You don't just bill calls, like you said. You guide. Do you actually advertise that, or you guide for friends?
Well, yeah, I have outfitting businesses called TNT Outfitters, TANT Outfitters, and it's spelled out TANDT Outfitters.
Is that on Facebook, or I got a website, or
this website TNT Outfitters?
Okay.
And it's here. It's right up here. There we got it's a little over 1,100 acre. Used to be a working cattle farm, and so we do deer hunts, turkey hunts. I have a dove club, and we're going to do duck hunts this year. It'll be the first year for it. We just built a new duck pond last year.
Here I was bad mouthing ducks. So ducks are great.
No. Now, I didn't say I was going to be duck hunting. I said we're going to be selling duck hunts.
Well, I'll tell you what. Me and Dustin, we don't have our South Carolina turkey yet, so we might be interested in talking to you about coming over there.
We can line it up.
Well, we may, but when that state's on our list, it's not this year.
Right.
We're going to. Our list this year is Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. That's the 3 we're going to try to hit. We're going to try to, I'll try to squeeze some maybe some public land info out of you for Illinois when we get that direction.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
But that's what we're trying to work out. We're actually going to, if it works out, I've got an invite to go into Ontario and do a turkey hunt.
Okay. Well, I know they got them because I shipped calls to Ontario.
Well, I didn't even know they had them until a year ago. I don't know why I didn't think about it, and I'm assuming they're Easterns. I don't know. I guess they are. But I was talking.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a boy up there. He's kind of the head. He's kind of a guide on the lake and heads up this place. I go fish up there just about every year. I didn't go this year, and he was. We was talking about why I didn't show up the year before. I go with a group of guys, but they've been going really the last week, going up there the last week of May and first week of June. There's still snow on the ground. Well, I was still turkey hunting. We was up in, we were up in South Dakota. I couldn't just, by the time I got home and turned around and tried to go fishing, I own a business. I got to work sometime.
Right.
You know how that is. But
I definitely
he was telling me, he said, well, you ought to just come up here and kill these turkeys in my backyard. He said, I got them all over the place. And I said, well, all I need to know is where your backyard is. And because I knew he'd be at the lake. And then there's another guy, his name's Steve. He owns a company called Rack Stacker. I don't think they sell in the United States, but they make mineral licks, and he sells all kinds of deer hunting stuff. And he happened to be up at the lodge when I was there. And he said, man, I got plenty of turkeys. He said, all you got to do is come up here and kill one if you want to kill one. So I talked to him. We couldn't make it. The dates didn't work out for us this year. So we're going to try to work it out this coming year. So,
well, I tell you, I can get you on the list to come up here and turkey hunt with me. We, our population's been in decline just like it has throughout most of the U.S. So that 1,100 acres for the past 4 years, I've only I've set myself a limit of 3 turkeys being killed off of it. So I'll only book 5 hunters because, we
Right.
kill 3 birds and 5 hunters. Well, last year I messed around and booked 6 hunters. And so the first 3 people I took would kill one, the first 3 hunts. And I was like, golly, man, I really didn't want to kill no more. Well, but I had 3 more hunters booked the next week. And I said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take them because I am still hearing birds. So the next 3 people I took would kill 2 out of them 3. And the only one that didn't kill one was only hunting a half a day. So anyway, but I was very fortunate. The last morning I had a little boy. His daddy works for NASCAR. Little boy's 10 years old. And I called in. I thought there was only one longbeard left on that end of the farm, but thank goodness I called the turkey in. Sure enough, here he comes, and whenever he did, it was 2 longbeards, 2 jakes, and 3 hens.
Oh, that made you feel good then.
It made me feel real good and he killed that one, and then we had to sit still for a little while to let him leave because they just flew on out in the field, and kind of was hanging around. But so I told him, I said, Ryan, I got good news and bad news. Well, they had already booked another day later in the month. It was like April the 27th, I think, was when their second day was supposed to be. And I told him, I said, Ryan, I got good news and bad news. He said, what is it? I said, the good news is you got a nice gobbler laying right yonder. I said, the bad news is your next hunt's canceled.
Wow. Well,
But it made me feel good because I knew I had 1 longbeard left right there. And when we got back to the trucks, which is in the middle of the farm, there was one gobbling like crazy right down in the woods, right there behind where we was parked at. So we got in the truck and left. So, I think only killing those 3 for a number of years is helping.
well, I feel like, at least here in Alabama, I feel like our numbers they're starting to come back a little bit. I've owned a little 40-acre tract and have cleaned it up, and people can like it or not like it, but I feed them through the summer. Not whole corn and that kind of stuff, but millet and basically like a scratch feed. But anyway, I had 2 hens, and between them, those 2 hens, they had 15 poults.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
I have watched them since, I guess it was the end of May when I first started getting pictures of them. And I get pictures of them every day, and there's still the same amount there. They were real, when they bitty size, or I call them bitty. Yeah. A lot of people not know it. Yeah, they were just flying when they could get up in the trees. I could tell they could fly when I first, but now they're
a little bigger.
It's hard almost to tell them from some of the hens. The hens are a little bit bigger right now, but still they're everything. I ain't seen a jake amongst a bunch, but my land backs up to 10,000 acres of Talladega National Forest, so they got a lot of places to roam. But I've got the only open areas around there, and I've been working my tail off trying to get the dirt back to where it'll grow something. It wouldn't grow a cactus last year. So I've been putting the lime to it and trying to get everything back like it should. So, but we've seen poults. I've seen poults up here around my house, and that's down in Selma where my property is there.
Yeah.
Me and Dustin seen poults around Winston County, Walker County. We saw tons of poults in Tennessee. We got a place up there we hunt.
Yeah.
We had them fly. The last morning we hunted up there, we knew it was late in the season anyway, but Dustin was trying to get his bird, and he owl hooted, and we had, I don't know how many. They just started falling out of the tree on top of us. They were hitting the ground and running and stopping and looking, and
they were little bitty.
Yeah, they were just big enough to fly. And then we saw 2 or 3 more hens with poles.
Yeah.
So
we seen a ton.
Well, I've got a lot of good news like that. I mean, my buddy up in Illinois has been seeing a bunch of young turkeys.
That's good.
I mean, past the danger stage,
Yes.
And so that's great. Now here, on the other hand, on that 1,100 acre farm that we do our outfitting on, we're on that farm 6 days a week, every day. And we have not seen a poult all summer.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I mean, and we got 700 acres of pasture on that property.
So you can see a lot. You can see a lot. You know if they're out there. You can see if they're out there.
Right. So that's bad. And last year we only saw one hen with a bunch of poults, and they were, still, the size of a, you know what I mean? They were bitty size.
Right. Yep.
So, I don't know, man. I had 2 jakes this year on the property, so I know that was 2 that made it the year before.
Right.
So, I don't know, man.
Hopefully they'll stay
I don't
around.
know what. Yeah. So.
Hey, I don't know.
Man, this is what it is. I feel like egg predation's our number one problem around here.
Well, I feel the same way. I don't think there's no disease, but I heard a guy. He's the state biologist for Mississippi. He was on Cuz Strickland's podcast. I think he was on their podcast. Anyway, he was on somebody's. I listened to a lot of them.
Yeah.
And he had a whole different theory behind the problem with turkeys, and I'd never heard it. And he said he believes we haven't been out of restocking, that long. So
right.
He said turkeys and like grouse, I think it was grouse.
Yeah.
They're very similar. And grouse will go through about every 10, 20 years. They go through a downswing for several years. Nobody knows why. They just do it. It's just like their natural state.
Yeah.
And he said he seems to think that turkeys are doing the same thing, especially here in the South, because there was so much restocking going on that.
Well, I have thought about that, and I didn't hear him say that, but I have thought about that.
Now
it would be natural for anything like that to fluctuate up and down.
And you throw a bad hatch year or two, bad weather, hurricanes or whatever storms, it could really hurt the population.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're not getting but 2 poults per hen anyway, and then you got a bad year and you don't get any, well, them hens don't live that. They're what, 5 years maybe. So you can run out of hens in 2 or 3 years, or at least they could drop so low that you wouldn't have.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw you something right here that you'll think about, and you'll be thinking about it for the next 2 weeks, off and on. And I thought about this. And anywhere you want to go, well, I have to say South Carolina because that's the only one that I really know the laws on the way I do. I know some of the laws in the other states. But anyway, so in South Carolina, I can raise 100,000 quail today. Raise them up as long as I want to and open the door and turn them out, no problem. I can raise 100,000 mallard ducks and take them and turn them loose on any pond I want to around here. No problem. Perfectly legal. But you can't raise one wild turkey and turn it loose.
No. I think I don't know any state that's legal to do in. I know it's not here. Now, for a long time it was.
What's the difference?
And you know what? I think me and Dustin's talked about that. What if you raised 1,000 and only 10 made it? That's 10 that made it.
10 more.
That's 10 that made it.
All right. So now I think that their big thing is they think that turkeys are so susceptible to disease, and maybe that is the reason. I've never told anybody that has enough knowledge to tell me the reason why. But anyway, with that being said, my thing is. Oh, and this I find real funny. I mean, and I probably will not say it on the radio or whatever, wherever we're being broadcast at, but it is what it is. I mean, I got a free mind, and for right now, I can still think freely in this country. For right now.
For
now. Long as the wrong person don't hear me. But I think it's funny that South Carolina put a thing out in it was through an email. Of course, and that's what it was saying. You cannot raise a wild turkey and turn it loose, or raise them, period, for that matter. And in that email, it said South Carolina has the purest strand of wild turkey in this country. And I just want to know how far back what caveman they asked to solidify that and prove that.
Well, and yeah, how do they know that?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
How do you know?
How can you know that?
If they brought in some from Georgia, I mean, I don't understand what that means. I mean, how
can they know that?
I mean, does that mean Alabama had a bunch of farm turkeys get bred, and you know what I'm saying? Or
that's what I'm trying to get at. It don't make no sense to me. I don't understand how somebody can back that up.
I agree. I've never heard that. Wow.
And I could go back and find the email and forward it to you.
I'd have to.
It just blows my mind. I'm like, how can they prove that?
Well, I guess if you can't disprove it, then it is what it is.
Well, I can't disprove it, but it just makes me. It's just one of them things, the old saying, things that make you say, "Oh."
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say Alabama's probably got the second purest strain.
Well, to me, I mean, I know why they say that, because the NWTF founded South Carolina.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I mean, I ain't talking bad about nobody. I'm just saying, I mean, I guess to me, that would be the biggest fueling factor for them to say it.
I'm going to have to start. I'm going to do a little research on this, though. You've got me thinking.
But it's interesting, ain't it?
Yeah. I'm going to think about that more than raising a turkey and turning it loose.
I know it.
I want to know how you do.
Well, that's what got me. That was the whole thing that got me, was who decided that?
I mean, what are they doing? DNA testing these turkeys and going, hey, there's a blah, blah, blah.
Only thing I can come up with that is like, say maybe they brought turkeys from Indiana to here and turned them loose, versus South Carolina always done all their turkey in state. That's the only way I can.
I don't know.
My mind,
well, I mean, they did, but the thing about it is South Carolina shipped a lot of turkeys all over the country.
Yeah.
Because my buddy Butch Deal that I was talking about earlier, he worked for the DNR. He was one of the persons that sat there and shot the net over.
Yep.
Now, but what I'm saying is, let's just say
where
using
do they get
DNA.
their baseline at?
Yeah, how far? I mean, what turkey carcass did they dig up out of the ground from 2,000 years ago that they comparing that DNA to?
I agree. Wow.
So anyway,
they are the government. They know all.
That's right. And I mean, I'm not trying to throw off on anybody. It's just one of them things that made me think, dang, how do they know that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm all for DNR and the Turkey Federation and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of good friends in DNR, and I work with them hand in hand. With the outfitting business and everything. But anyways, it just made me wonder, how do you know that? And it may be it may be an answer whenever they said it that I'd be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you do know that. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, look, we're running long, and I want to cover one thing before we go in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll get off here and let you go to bed because it's getting late for you.
Oh, yeah, well.
Or you can go down there and make calls at 3 in the morning, whatever.
Sleeping's just for fun.
Yeah. Tell us about your dove hunting. Particularly for a man that's making him a dove field. Don't give no trade secrets away, but what would you suggest somebody try to do or have? And I know South Carolina's laws could be different from Alabama's and Tennessee's, and they are all different to a way, but just a normal,
they should be pretty similar, though. Yeah, because that's better.
You get out there and plant a millet field, or you bush hog it, topsoil something, and
millet's real good. Now you of course you can't topsoil until here. We go by what Clemson Extension. In other words, here I'd have to look at the book right now to see what the date is, because it could change a day or two. Each year, depending on everything. But here, so the topsoil for here, would only apply to second season. And for people that don't dove hunt a lot, which I don't do any dove hunting, but I mean, I run my field. I enjoy dove hunting, but that's my job. I don't just like turkey hunting. I mean, I don't shoot turkeys. That's turkey that my customer could kill. But anyways, so sunflowers is real good. The thing that's good about sunflowers is, and I don't mind telling whatever because it ain't really no trade secrets. It's just common sense to me. You know, the good thing about sunflowers, if you got good weed control, which is expensive, you know, it's expensive to have good weed control. I mean, the one gallon of the chemical that I put on my dove field was $400.
Whoa.
1 gallon. Anyways, the thing about sunflowers that's good is when they finish, then they'll sit there and they done died, and the head will turn over and it faces the ground. Well, that keeps the rain off of it, off the seed, that is. So the seed will stay good for a long time. And the seed's going to sit there, and as the wind blows and everything else, it's just going to keep dropping seed till it runs out.
Right.
So that's the good thing about sunflowers. There really is no downside to sunflowers except for the expense of the weed control. Now, on the brown top side, the good thing about brown top is it'll grow anywhere. It'll grow on the concrete out there if you spray a little water on it. Literally. The bad thing about brown top, it brings the birds in and it's good. But when you cut it, so you're not going to want to cut it till about 10 days before the season comes in.
Right.
And when you do cut it, the problem that you got, it's going to be real good until about a week after you get the first rain on it. And a week after you get the first rain on it, every bit of that seed that hit the dirt is going to start growing. It's going to be about an inch tall. Well, once that seed starts growing, they're done with it. You know, they like seed. They don't want the plant. So that's the drawback to the brown top. So my recommendation on the brown top, which is what I do, is I cut it in stages. So I'll do a first cutting like I did that 10 days ago. Well, not quite 10 days ago now, because season comes in Monday, so it's 10 days from next Monday. I'll do a first cutting, you know, and then I kind of watch my birds, you know, and then whenever I feel like I'm running low on birds, and I'll do another cutting. You know, I'm trying to keep seed on the ground all the time.
Yes.
Because that seed will set on that plant, and it'll fall off. But if it don't make soil contact, it's still fine. So, you know, cutting it in stages is a good way to do it.
Now, do you go in?
Then,
do you plant, mix it? I mean, like several rows of that and several rows of sunflowers and.
That's the way I do mine. Yeah, my 50-acre field, I got 12 and a half acres of sunflowers, which is in 4 strips.
Right.
I got a big strip when you first come in the field, then another strip, you know, about 100 yards is another strip, and then about 100 yards is another big strip, and then about another 100 yards is another big strip. The field's 600 yards long. It's 50-acre field.
Wow.
And in between that's where I put my brown top. And then I planted corn this year. My corn seed didn't hit on much. I mean, yeah, some of it came up. My germination was real low on it. So once it started coming up, and I could tell it was pretty, you know, and it wasn't pretty thin, it was real thin. Once it started coming up, then I just threw brown top in the seeder and seeded brown top right in there with the corn.
Okay. So
whenever I cut, I'm cutting corn and brown top.
Oh, they got a smorgasbord then.
Right. And I have used Japanese millet. The thing about Japanese millet, it's got too much stalk. Man, Japanese millet's got a big head and it's got a lot of millet on it, but it's way too much stalk. When you cut it, you got so much debris on the ground, they can't get down to the seed.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So your main thing though is you're planting millet, sunflowers, and corn. That's your
right.
That's your magic mix.
I have done sesame, and sesame's real good. You know, sesame just likes on your hamburger bun.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the problem with sesame is, and brown top has the same problem, but it's not that bad. It doesn't seem to be as bad because brown top will get so thick that it'll pretty much choke your weeds out. Where sesame is a bigger stalk, more like a sunflower. And that sesame, you can't control the weeds in it. Anything you spray to kill the weeds going to kill the sesame.
Okay.
So it's hard to control weeds in it, but it's real good now. But now it's a 120-day crop, so you got to plant it early. Unless, like a couple of years ago, I had sesame in the field. I didn't put no sesame in the field this year because last year it got so overtook with weeds, I just decided not to do any this year. So unless you more word, in other words, your sesame is real good for second season if you plant it at the same time you would plant your stuff for first season.
Okay. Hey, that makes sense. For the diehard dove hunter, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever hunted a second season in my life. I'm usually deer hunting by then.
Usually I go opening day and that's it.
And that's the way I always was too, until I got into this, But yeah, I mean, but you'd be surprised how many diehard dove hunters there are, or bird hunters in general. Because most of your dove hunters, they'll hunt ducks and you know what I mean, quail and stuff like that too.
Well, me and old David, last December we went off down to Argentina. That's a whole different world. I killed 1,017 doves in less than 6 hours.
My goodness gracious.
I told Rebecca.
Did you have 3 or 4 guns sitting there to keep them melting the barrel down?
We had 2 guns. I killed one of them. Yeah. They said they rebuilt those guns every 3 weeks. They were all Benellis. This is what's funny, and David may listen to this, he may not. I hadn't shot doves, and I bet you 10 or 15 years. And he taught me into going on this free dove hunt. It's the most expensive free dove hunt I've ever been on. But I got down there, and when you got through with the hunt, that's your bird boys, and they keep up with your. Of course, they keep up with how many shells you shoot because it's $1 a shot.
Right.
Then they got your hit ratio or your kill ratio. All them boys in Huntsville I went with, I outshot and outkilled all of them. I shot less shells and killed more birds. I was sitting there that last night. I said, boys, if I really dove hunted, just think how bad I would have tore y'all up. So, but I called Rebecca and I told her, I said, you ain't gonna believe this. I said, I killed over 1,000 doves. I said, I got a free T-shirt that said I'm in the 1,000 Dove Club. And she said, free? I said, yeah, they gave me a free T-shirt. She said, how much was those shells a piece? And I said, yeah, it wasn't free. They give anybody that'll shoot 1,000 rounds a free T-shirt, I guess, because they just made $1,000 off of it.
That's right. That's right.
But
not 1,000 because they had to buy the shells, but they wasn't $1.
No,
but it's funny though because I have different skill level, members, and I have members that if they shoot 20 shells, they kill 15 doves.
Right.
And then I have members that shoot 200 shells and they got the limit.
That's me.
But
that's me.
At the end of the day, I tell them all, the main thing's have fun because
that's it.
We're out there to have fun. I tell my members whenever especially new members now, of course, I got members that's been with me since I started, but anybody that's, inquiring about wanting to become a member, the first thing I tell them is, if you're here to argue, we don't need you.
Yep.
And that's exactly the way I say it too. Well, because there ain't no gray area on it. We're here to have fun, and we're going, and it's all done fair. The field's laid out. I lay the field out with a rangefinder. I don't guess at it. The spots are 75 yards apart, and they're numbered. And you draw your number out of a bag, and that's the spot you go to. And it can't get no fairer than that. Now, granted, I'm out in the field the whole time, and I'm constantly, riding around checking on everybody. And all the spots are never filled.
Right.
Because even though I'll take up to 50 members and I have 50 spots in the field, everybody don't never show up on the same day. So, the most I normally will have will be the first day. And last year I had 50 members and I think I had 38 or 39 shooters opening day. After that, it drops down to 20, 25 a week. So what I'm trying to say is, if somebody's not getting any shooting, then I'll go check. I'm checking on them all the time. And if this man ain't getting no shooting, I'm gonna pick him up and move him to an empty spot.
Yeah.
That may be in a little better. Not that all the spots ain't good, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes they fly more in one little area than they do others.
Yes.
So we're trying to be fair about it.
Well, what are you doing? Moving furniture?
Our wife just opened and closed the garage door. I'm sitting in the garage.
Well, tell her we said hello. But,
I wish she could hear you.
Hello.
hey. Well, look.
So besides my call business and my outfitting business, I do taxidermy work too.
I didn't know you did taxidermy. That's all new to me. I didn't realize that. You did. Good God. Next thing you're going to tell me you're doing brain surgery or something on the side.
Well, I've been thinking about starting that up.
Well, you could move to Washington, D.C. and you'd be a millionaire quick.
Yeah, no joke. But, but I don't, I take only a limited number of animals because, I was doing taxidermy work before I started my call business.
Okay.
And then I quit for 20 years. And then I started back about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
And so I only started back because I had a friend that wanted me to do one. And I had been thinking about doing some again, so I finally said, yeah, bring it on. I'll do it. So then whenever I did, I enjoyed doing it. It's the reason why I do it. So I only, I said I'd only take 10 animals a year. And then last year, with being so busy, I done kind of got behind. So last year I turned down a bunch of work. And now I've got 4 deer heads in the shop now, and then I'll be caught back up. So I'll be able to take some more this year. Which I still took a few last year, but I turned down most everything. But
I know that was hard for you, passing up that dollar.
Well, it was, but at the same time, I didn't want to get a reputation of, man, you take something to him, you can't get it back, so that was my main concern.
Yep, I understand.
Yeah, that's a good policy.
Well, look, I think we're going to, let's bring this train into the station so you can get off there and visit with the boss and
go do another job.
Go start your second job. I don't know. Go out there and look where the doves are roosting. I don't know.
Well, I got to go move round bales in the field tomorrow to get, I've already laid it off and used marking paint, to lay it off, and then I just got to set the bales in place and number them.
Sounds like you got it worked out. You've only done it a few years, it sounds like. Yeah,
this is the 5th year.
Yep. Well, sounds like.
So the other thing we do is we feed everybody opening day. So Tanya's got a bunch of cooking and all to do to get ready for opening that Monday.
Well, I don't know if I've ever had her cooking.
Oh,
we always eat out in Nashville or have pizza.
That's right.
So.
Well, hey, look here. You can look at me and tell she's a good cook.
Well, I think we all got pretty good cooks in.
That's right.
Mine just pulled in. She didn't cook tonight, but I think she brought me in a hamburger or something. So I'm going to go down there and have dinner. I ain't had nothing since about 11 o'clock today. So, but look, hey,
just a little bit ago. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you.
Well, we need to do it again sometime.
We're definitely going to get you back on before turkey season, right around maybe. I know you'll be busy, so we'll work it in maybe after the convention in Nashville, or maybe before. If you get, you just hit me up and you say, hey, I'm sitting here at the house. Y'all want to do one? We'll work it out.
Yeah,
we're pretty flexible.
Well, that'll be fine. I mean, here's the thing. During February, January, February, March. I mean, I could unless it's a week before a show. I can pretty much do one about any time because I can put this thing on speaker and I can make mouth calls the whole time I talk.
February is probably going to be the best. That's when everybody's turning their attention to it because they know March is coming, and I know they're delaying season openings now. But
Well, you know, what we need to do is do it about 2 or 3 weeks before Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A kickoff.
And we can really talk about the new calls that's going to be at the show and stuff like
All
that.
right. We're going to write you down, and we will definitely, and I'll be talking to you before then anyway, because like I said, we're planning on you coming up, and, you know, maybe we'll be there early enough to help you get your trailer unloaded. I don't know.
There you go.
We're going to come in. I know you'll take a free back if you can get one. We tell everybody
Oh, my goodness.
we tell everybody we're Legacy Game Call Pro Staff. Since nobody will have us, so I make a weekly appeal to Mossy Oak we want on their pro staff, but I never get a call. So, you know, that's how it goes.
That's right.
You know, always the bridesmaid. But anyway,
that's right.
We're going to wrap this up and get to it. I know Dustin, he's got a 30-minute ride to just get, or 40-minute ride just to get home from my house. So he'll be up at daylight, headed out to dig some dirt somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Unless I get him back over here. We're working on a podcast studio, and that's what we've been doing almost every evening and weekend. So we're on the home stretch, but we still got a ways to go so we can get out of my wife's kitchen. She wants all this crap off her table is what she told me.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
well, I enjoyed it, and I appreciate y'all having me on, and look forward to doing it again.
All right. Well, thank you so much, William.
Talk to you
Yes,
later,
sir.
William.
Appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye. Well, that was interesting. We didn't get very much Dovefield talk in, but we got a lot of turkey talk. You know what? That's fine with me.
And William's got got so many different things that man does, and he didn't mention that, but he still works his job,
His part-time
job.
His part-time job.
That he worked for 29
So
years.
he's an outfitter. He's a call maker. He's a dove hunter. Or dove, not a hunter, but what you know what I'm talking about. And he does taxidermy.
And he works a part-time job.
And he works his part-time job. That's 5 things. Plus all the shows.
Yeah, and he hammers the shows too.
It's hard to get him out of that booth just to go eat a hamburger.
Yeah, well, we brought
it to him last year. Yeah, we went and ate. We brought them back to food. He just swallowed her down while he was collecting that money.
Yep.
I still can't believe he trusts me to take money and put in that cash register.
He put us to work.
Oh, so I guess we are pro staff. He kind of said, yeah, okay, we Legacy Game Call Pro Staff. You hear that, Nick Wilson? Would you like that logo on our shirt? You know, we'd like to be pro staff over there. So anyway, well, let's finish this thing up. I anywayed it, but I haven't said people.
Yeah, but it's become kind of a trademark thing.
So people, we're going to finish this up. Meet Two Nation. This has been a long one. I don't know if it's really been that long. It's an hour there and was about 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
And there will be, and I apologize, you'll hear that in you've done heard it, but I'm going to do my best to clean it up and splice it together best I can on there. I'll listen to it and play with it. I'll get it where I can. You know, so that's what it is. I'll even put it in the description. There's a little technical difficulty right in the first part of it. Bear with it.
Yeah. I think it's about 15 minutes in, so not too bad.
We was going to try to do another one tonight, but I don't think I'm going to make it. No. All right. Well, if you ain't got anything else, I say we hit the end button on this thing. And
thanks for the ones that do listen.
Yes, like and follow us. Tell all your friends, and we will talk to you in about a week.